All right, welcome back. So today we are going to go on a new topic, and that is related to export function and exports. And then we are going to go to imports and then the net export function. Please do keep in mind that we will define exports as domestically produced goods sold to foreigners. Do keep this in mind that when we are talking about the export function, okay, when we are talking about the export function, the exports of a country may be dependent on several factors, but the income of the people in the country is not really a very important factor when it comes to determining the level of exports. I mean, if what you're exporting may be a function of what the income of the people in other countries is, but it is not a very strong function of the income in the country from where the export is originating. All right. So what then is the export function? The export function of the nation is basically its autonomous exports, because it's not related to your income. So it is related to foreign income, it is related to competitiveness of export, quality of export, yes, but not really related to your incomes in the domestic economy. So this is what the function will look like. The export function will be the autonomous x naught, which is a line, horizontal line parallel to the x-axis. Please do not confuse the y with the axis. That is not the y-axis. Y here represents the income. So exports are not really related to national income. Whatever the income is, the exports are independent of the income within the country. All right. Yes, if one of the factors that we mentioned above, foreign income, price competitiveness, exports, qualities, that changes, then the entire line is going to shift. The entire export function is going to experience a parallel shift, either upward or downward. Let's say that the quality of your export becomes better. So when the quality of your export becomes better, then at each and every income level, you are going to experience a higher level of exports. So once again, the determinant of export here is the quality of the good. It is not related to the income within the country. All right. Imports, on the other hand, are goods produced by foreigners and purchased by domestic buyers. Okay, the import function. What is import dependent on? Definitely, it is dependent on two things. There is an autonomous element to import. Some things will be imported irrespective of the income of the country. The country, for example, needs oil, let's say, so that will be imported irrespective of the income. But there is also an element of induced imports. As the incomes rise, they will induce an increase in imports. People may demand goods from abroad. How much will they demand will depend upon the gradient of the import function. And the gradient of the import function is known as the MPM, the marginal propensity to import. So if your income goes up by 100, what is the probability, or what is your inclination to import, spend part of that increase in income on the import? Let's say you spend $60 on imports. I'm taking a very hypothetical example here, and an outlandish one, but nonetheless, let's say that you spend $60 on imports. So what is your marginal propensity to import? 0.6. That will be determined by the gradient of this line. Okay, the gradient of this line will determine the MPM. And what is the MPM? The change in import delta m divided by delta y, the change in income. So now what you can do is you can add these two components of imports, the autonomous and the induced, and you will get the import line or the import function. Remember, one, it is always upward sloping. Two, it does not start from the origin. Why will it not start from the origin? Because this line has two components. It has the it has the autonomous, which will happen under all conditions, and then once the income starts increasing, then there will be a propensity to import more. Okay, so marginal propensity to consume, that we have discussed, and that is the gradient of this line. Quickly I will tell you about the average propensity to import, the marginal propensity to import, and now the average propensity to import. Average propensity to import can be determined at a single point on the curve, on the import function line. Okay, so what will that be? Simply what you do is that you for the formula, you take APM, average propensity to import, is equal to the import divided by the income at a particular point. In marginal propensity to import, we take 2 points, point A, point B, and we see how much import changes and how much the income changes, and then we work out the ratio of the change of import to income. But here we do not work out the change. Here we just work out the uh, the point. Okay, and how do we do that exactly? How do we find out the APM? It's quite simple. Doing graphically, what you do is that you take out the rays from the origin. Okay, the first ray rises, ray 1, it rises and it cuts the import function at a certain point. Then the second ray also rises and it cuts at another point, and the third also rises. The important thing about these rays is they will always originate from the origin, and they are going to touch different points on the import line. These are the two things, and you will never get the ray wrong. Determine 3 points, and then you are going to uh, make these rays go through those three different points. So as you can see here, three different points have been taken and the rays go through them. When you work out the gradient of the rays, the ray 1, the ray 2, the ray 3, when you work out the gradient of these, this gradient gives you the average propensity to import. And when you work out the gradient of the import function itself, the solid line, that gradient is the marginal propensity to import. I repeat, the gradient of the rays is the average propensity to import, and the gradient of the import function is the marginal propensity to import. The marginal propensity to import remains the same in a linear curve. If the curve is linear, it's the same. Whereas the average propensity is changing, and as the income rises, as you become rich, the gradient falls, which means the average propensity to import also falls. Okay, now as I already said, look at this. As I already said, the MPM has it has an autonomous element. Okay, what if this autonomous import becomes zero? We have no autonomous imports. The only imports that will happen will be when income rises. This is a hypothetical thing. So if there is a situation where your imports, autonomous imports, they become zero, then what happens? Your only imports will be induced, and in this case the induced imports or the total imports is going to start from the origin, just like the ray 1, ray 2, ray 3. So in this case, when your import line originates, hypothetically originates from the origin, in that situation, your MPM becomes exactly equal to APM. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Just keep that rule in mind, that once your autonomous import becomes zero, then the MPM becomes equals to APM. Okay, so determinants of imports, you can either move along the import line or the import line will shift. When will the import line shift? What are the determinants of imports? Please do keep in mind, when the prices of home produced goods go up. Now, please keep in mind, um, this can happen because of two reasons. Okay, either inflation hits and your home produced goods become expensive. Okay, so what's going to happen when the home produced goods become expensive? You are going to import more, you're going to demand more of the cheaper foreign goods. Okay, and your imports are going to rise. That is one situation, but it can also happen if the exchange rate rises. If your currency becomes stronger, then you, with the same currency, you will be able to buy more imports will look cheaper to you. So in both cases, if inflation rises or exchange rate rises, in both cases your imports are going to rise. Secondly, if there is a shift towards a foreign good, you start demanding American goods or British goods or Indian goods, you import more. Okay, if the quality of your good is less and the quality of the foreign good is more, then you're likely going to import more. Depreciation, yes, if your currency goes down, all other factors constant, the foreign good looks expensive. Okay, because the power of your currency has gone down, so your imports will go down. When the appreciation takes place, reverse happens. The reverse happens. What happens is your your foreign good appears to be cheaper and you're going to buy more. And what if trade relations between you and other countries are good? Then there are going to be more imports, there's going to be more trade, more imports. Okay, so we are going to stop here, and in the next video we will continue this, and we are going to look at net exports and also the various graphs and how the graph shifts. So please stay tuned for this. Thank you very much indeed.